Hi, guys. So today we are going to be reading chapters 16 and 17 in our novel, Stella Diaz Never Gives Up. So I want you to open up your copy, pause the video, go down to chapter 16, and follow along with me. Okay? All right, so let's get started. Chapter 16. The next day at camp, I walked through the front doors, determined. Because remember, at the end of chapter 15, she says, um, her biggest question that she's going to ask Mr. Kyle is, how do we stop using so much plastic? So let's see if she does that this chapter. The next day at camp, I walk in through the front doors, determined. Before Mr. Kyle and Miss Susan start going over the schedule, I corner them. I've been reading, I begin. That's terrific. What about? Asked Miss Susan. I read about how the oceans are filling up with plastic. I spent all afternoon being blue yesterday, but today, more than ever, I want to fix it. I curl my fist and pump it. Mr. Kyle and Miss Susan look at each other and then nod at me. Awesome, young lady. But I don't know how, I reply, looking down at the ground. Hey there. Don't worry. We'll give you some ideas. Promise, says Miss Susan. Once all the campers have arrived and settled down, Mr. Kyle speaks. Today we're going to work more on the enrichment toys, but I want to start the day by talking about something else. I know many people are concerned about the oceans. Stella just came up to us this morning feeling pretty blue about it. I turn a little roja. I didn't know I'd be put on the spot. How many of you feel that way too? Everyone else raises their hands. The roja fades away. I'm not alone. So I thought we could spend some time brainstorming ideas, little things that we can do to make a change. Mr. Kyle continues. Specifically, let's think of ways we can cut down on plastic. I perk up. I'm all ears. Mr. Kyle writes on the blackboard ways to cut down on plastic. So, do any of you have any ideas? Logan raises his hand. You can carry a reusable bottle. My dad got me this one. He raises up his bottle. It has sharks on it. That's a great idea. And remember, you don't have to put just water in it. You could put juice or coffee when you're older, responds Miss Susan. Anyone else? Asks Mr. Kyle. Kristen raises her hand. What about plastic straws? My mom said we shouldn't use them anymore. I gulp. I love plastic straws. That's a great idea, replies Mr. Kyle, writing it down. And there are some great reusable straws too, made out of silicone and stainless steel. Phew, I feel relieved. Then I think of one. Could people use tote bags instead of plastic bags? My neighbor Linda always carries one around. Yes, and make sure to say no when you're offered a plastic bag, says Mr. Kyle, writing my suggestion on the board next to the other two ideas. Does anyone else have an idea? Says Miss Susan. The room grows silent. Everyone is scratching their heads, trying to come up with an idea. Miss Susan raises her hand. Can I suggest one? We all nod our heads. What about plastic spoons, forks, and knives? Just bring your own with you and say no when someone like a restaurant offers you some. Fabulous, says Mr. Kyle, writing it down. Miss Susan says, this is a great start, and these are only 4 recommendations. But if all of you follow them, then it can make a big impact. And if you all spread the word, it can have an even bigger effect. I look at the list on the board. This is easy. I can do this, I think. Then Mr. Kyle says, and one last suggestion. There is a great article called Planet or Plastic in National Geographic. Kristen raises her hand. I know that article. I stopped reading it. It was too sad. I completely agree. It's heartbreaking, but its sole purpose is to inform. Sometimes you have to confront people with the really hard information to make them realize how important the cause is, says Mr. Kyle. I nod. It's so upsetting. But now that I know more about how we're harming the oceans, I have to save them. And I'm going to tell everyone about the plastic crisis. At least try. Even if it's scary to talk to new people. This is too important. But the best part of the article is that at the end there is a pledge. By signing the pledge, you agree to stop using so much plastic because you love the oceans more. I can do that. I'm so determined that I speak aloud without thinking. I thought so, replies Miss Susan, especially coming from the future Sylvia Earle. And here we see a little sticky note that says 1. Carry a reusable bottle. 2. Say no to plastic straws. 3. Carry a tote bag and say no to plastic bags. And 4. Say no to plastic cutlery. Cutlery is just the forks and knives and spoons. Okay, the plastic ones. And that is the end of chapter 16. So we're going to move on to chapter 17. If you would like to go back, highlight important parts, you can pause the video now. And then click play whenever we're ready. Okay? So, chapter 17. When mom picks me up from camp today, she's distracted. She ends up talking on her cell phone with people from work on the ride home on the metro. I'm not able to tell her my latest developments from camp yet. At home, we are greeted by another ringing phone. This time, it's the house phone. Stella, it's for you, says Mom. I pick up the phone, expecting that it's Dad. I sent him a present from Mexico. Hola, Stella. It's me, Stanley. I gasp. This is the best surprise. I got your email. My dad said it sounded like you needed a real phone call. Are you still sad about the oceans? I'm far from sad now that I have some ideas from camp, but I'm lucky to have a friend who cares. I'm doing much better, I say. My camp counselors gave me some information on how to cut down on plastic. Tell me so I can start telling everyone. I read out loud the 4 recommendations and tell him how he could sign the National Geographic Pledge online. Easy peasy. Hey, what if you make your own pledge from the points? If everyone signs it, we'd save a lot of plastic from going into the oceans. I gasped. That's a good idea. Stanley also thanks me for my postcard and letter. He says he was jealous that I had such a cool adventure in Mexico. How was the rest of space camp? I ask. Awesome. I met a real life astronaut. His name is Leland Melvin. He was in the NFL until he got injured and then became an astronaut with hard work. Wow, I reply. Then he says, yeah, he is my new hero, but I'll be back next week and I can tell you more about it then. I'll be happy to help you save the oceans too. Deal, I reply. After hanging up, I check in with Mom. I'm positive she'll be happy to sign my new pledge. Mom is working on her laptop in her bedroom. She looks a little busy, but this is important. We need to stop using so much plastic, I say from the doorway. Mom looks deep in thought at her computer. Hmm? Mom, I reply. Mom closes her laptop a little. Mia Moore, give me 1 hour of work time and I'll be all ears, I promise. I spend the next hour going around the house, pulling out plastic bags and plastic bottles. I start with our kitchen pantry, then move into the bathrooms, and then the trash bins. I pile all of them onto the kitchen counter. Like Miss Susan said, sometimes you need to confront people with the hard facts. Finally, Mom comes out of her bedroom. Stella, she says, sounding a little annoyed. I can tell because her voice gets much deeper. Her eyes are fixed on the plastic collection. Hang on, let me get. Sorry if you hear Onyx barking. Hold on. Sorry about that. So, her eyes are fixed on the plastic collection. ¿Qué haces? I'm trying to find all the plastic in the house to demonstrate how much we use. Mom touches her head in frustration. I see, she says, holding her hands on on her hips. Well, it's very messy in here. Oh no, I think. My demonstration is not mom approved. If there is one thing mom doesn't care for, it's a mess. But I just wanted to show her why this is important. I have to fix this. I'll clean it up. But see, we use a lot of plastic. So much. Mom doesn't quite look convinced. It takes almost 500 years for a plastic bottle to decompose, I say, holding a bottle of water. Then I grab my journal. Look, I have this to read, and I wrote down this list from camp today. I'm going to turn it into a pledge that everyone can sign. She grabs my journal and takes one long, deep breath. You read this on the couch and I'll put everything away, I say, trying to smile extra big. Mom moves to the living room and begins to read while I put everything back in its proper place. When everything is organized, I join Mom on the couch. She looks more relaxed, but is still more serious than usual. I know this is important to you, Mom replies. Her voice sounds controlled, like she's being deliberate with every word. And I will sign the pledge and promise to cut back on plastic. I exhale a big sigh of relief. Not only is Mom no longer upset, she's going to sign the pledge. Then, Mom adds, but you also have to be okay that we might use some plastic in the future. Can you promise me that? I promise, I reply. I feel better knowing Mom is not really mad. Even better, we're going to cut down on plastic as well. I also had a thought while you were cleaning up, she says, pointing to my list. If we are going to stop using plastic bags, we're going to need more tote bags. I nod. That's true. And we have all of this leftover fabric in our craft box. Why don't we try making our own tote bags? I squeal. That's the best idea. Can we do that tonight after dinner? I ask. See, she replies. Later that night, Mom and I used the sewing machine to make tote bags. We had leftover crazy fabric to make them as eccentric as possible. Who says being green has to be aburrido? Mom says, holding a zigzag fabric. As always, Mom is right. Going green isn't boring. And that, my friends, is the end of chapter 17. Okay. What you are going to do, complete your reading log based on chapters 16 and 17. Have fun.